Okay, I'm putting a quick video together. Early morning and all that. To talk about Hurricane Lorenzo. Interesting situation here, especially for the Azores. Maybe Ireland and the UK later on as well. But especially for the Azores at the moment. Start with the key messages. This is based on the 11 PM advisory, Tuesday, October 1st. Lorenzo expected to bring hurricane and tropical storm force winds to the Azores beginning within the next couple of hours at the time of this recording, with those dangerous conditions continuing into Wednesday afternoon. Hurricane and tropical storm warnings in effect. 2 swells generated by Lorenzo have spread across much of the North Atlantic and are affecting the east coast of the United States, Atlantic Canada, the Bahamas, portions of the Greater and Lesser Antilles, and portions of the coast of Europe. These swells will produce life-threatening surf and rip currents. Quick look at the tropical storm force wind speed probability chart. The cone. I'll finish up, have a quick look at it now. I'm going to finish on this one anyway. That's what the current cone looks like. The Azores are down here in the hurricane warning area. As of the 11 PM position, the westernmost Azores island already into the hurricane force winds. The orange area is the area of tropical storm force winds. And you talk about how big that wind field is. But yes, the central Azores islands getting those tropical storm force winds. You can see the cone is much narrower than the wind field. As it says up here, the cone contains the probable path of the storm's centre, but it does not show the size of the storm. Hazardous conditions can occur outside of the cone. I think that's particularly relevant when we're talking about a hurricane as large as Lorenzo is. So, I go back. The public advisory, where they mention the Azores, and Lorenzo is accelerating, is now moving toward the northeast near 40 miles an hour. It's moving. A northeastward motion at an even faster forward speed is expected through Thursday morning. The cyclone is forecast to slow down and turn eastward by Thursday night. So the centre of Lorenzo expected to pass near the western Azores early Wednesday morning. 100-mile-an-hour winds with higher gusts. Only slow weakening is forecast during the next 48 hours. Lorenzo then expected to be a powerful extratropical cyclone when it approaches Ireland Thursday afternoon and evening. Let's talk about the wind field. This is astounding. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 150 miles, 240 kilometres from the centre. That's a bigger wind field than what Hurricane Katrina had in 2005. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 390 miles, 630 kilometres. Minimum pressure estimated to be 960 millibars. I'm going to take a quick look at the discussion. Lorenzo's convective cloud pattern has eroded significantly during the past 6 hours, with an eye no longer evident in infrared satellite imagery. However, a ragged remnant eye feature is still present in passive microwave imagery, and that data indicates that the mid and upper level circulations are tilted northeast of the low level centre due to strong southwesterly vertical wind shear. Satellite intensity estimates have also decreased. They now support around 75 knots. However, the intensity is being maintained at 85 knots due to Lorenzo's faster forward speed, which is now about 10 knots more than it was on the previous advisory, offsetting the possible decrease in the winds. The wind field expanded in nearly every quadrant, but especially to the southeast. The larger wind field is now expected to result in sustained hurricane force winds occurring across portions of the western and central Azores on Wednesday morning. Despite the hurricane's extremely large size, Lorenzo has continued to accelerate northeastward. Lorenzo's forward speed should gradually level off near 40 knots on Wednesday and then gradually begin to decrease by Thursday morning when the cyclone turns more eastward toward Ireland. By late Thursday, post-tropical Lorenzo was forecast to turn east-southeastward, crossing Ireland and southern England. The latest NHC model guidance is tightly packed about the previous forecast track, so only minor tweaks were required. Lorenzo currently moving over sea surface temperatures near 24 degrees Celsius, and that isn't taking into account any cold upwelling that is likely occurring beneath the very large hurricane, with only colder water ahead of the cyclone coupled with vertical shear increasing to more than 40 knots by 12 hours. Rapid transition to a powerful post-tropical extratropical cyclone is expected shortly after Lorenzo passes the Azores. However, only gradual weakening is forecast during the next 24 hours due to baroclinic interaction with an upper level trough and frontal system. After that time, a more rapid rate of weakening is expected when Lorenzo will be moving over Ireland and England, which is probably good news for the UK as to otherwise how it would have been. Because the situation in the UK there's been a lot of heavy rain recently, and there's very high spring tides coinciding with all of this as well. So there's been flooding, there's coastal problems, and now Lorenzo's on the way. Lorenzo's expansive circulation is producing very large seas over the North Atlantic. So finish up with the chart and the key messages, of course, which I already looked at. Very large swells and waves being generated. Lorenzo started off life as a tropical wave coming off of Africa, but it's been a fish storm, just lingering out there across the central Atlantic. It became very large and very powerful, reached category 4 status, then it got onto a weakening trend. It had an eyewall replacement cycle, and then it came back even stronger than ever. It came back as a Cat 5, and then weakening trend again as it's been approaching the Azores. But it has been a pretty slow weakening. So it's been churning out there for quite a long time as a major hurricane for a lot of that time. So of course it's generally massive oceans spreading out across much of the North Atlantic basin, which needs to be noted. Finishing up with the chart again with the cone. Azores into the immediate term, and then post-tropical Lorenzo heading for Ireland and England, taking a very unusual track, bending to the east-southeast. It's incredible to think that in terms of the centre, the post-tropical, what's left of Lorenzo could end up very close to the London area by late Friday. And from there, across into the Low Countries, I guess, and into Europe. Until it is completely dissipated. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.